I hope you enjoy my stories. Instead of just clicking thumbs down, please comment and share how we can do better. If you do like our video, then please like and subscribe.
After my previous story about Christmas lights and my family farmland and the surrounding HOA, I have been asked to share a short story about some of the incidents that have happened. This is from a few years ago. I am in Florida and on mobile, so please excuse format issues. The rehash? My great-grandfather purchased 3,000 acres in Florida in the 1800s. It has been in the family and a working farm ever since. After my father passed, the land was divided between my brother and sister and me. My brother and sister sold their portions to a development company. And at the same time, I purchased a neighboring 850 acres. On to the story. After the development company built up the area with single-family home, they transferred control to a new HOA, which became officially registered in 2016. It was at this time that unstamped letters began appearing in my mailbox. The first was an introduction of the new HOA and included about a 20-page CC&R that were essentially a contract and had so many rules and regulations. Since my family land predates the HOA by well over 120 years, I am not obliged to join any such group. So I ignore the letters and start marking them. Return to sender. Now this alerts my postal carrier, who questions who put unstamped mail in the mailbox. And he took those letters and went to have a conversion with the HOA about illegal use of the mailbox. Now while this is a farm, I was not using it fully, but instead I had at the time about a dozen rescue animals, as well as 3/4 horses. I arrived home to find a pair of cars at the entrance of my driveway blocking my access. My driveway is almost 1/4 mile long, so I parked and walked. At my house, I found my wife arguing with 3 people, 2 men and a woman, who were demanding to be allowed their rights to search my property inside and out. After a quick briefing, I inform my trespassers of their violations. I then give them 10 minutes to get off my property and move their cars before I tow and impound them. These self-rigorous individuals were not budging. So I walk to one of my barns and start up something inside, and back out with an older model Holmes tow truck and start backing down the driveway. These 3 ran to get into their cars and were gone before I got to the end of the driveway. Now this would be nice if it ended there, but then it would not be much of a story. I started receiving fines. Yes, in the mail and unstamped. Actually had to get the local postmaster involved. Illegal use of the mail system and mailboxes are a part of that or a federal crime. I even got a fine for calling the postmaster on them. The HOA had to pay a $10,000 fine for unauthorized use of the USPS system. Fast forward about 6 months, and my wife notices that there is a lien on the house and property. This is where I contacted a property rights attorney, who immediately filed with the local government and finance agencies our dispute to the legality of this lien. It took a couple months, but the lien was dismissed when the originator failed to show up to a hearing. But it does not end here. Oh no, it does not. I received a large packet that came certified mail, detailing all the fines I have incurred since the HOA came into existence. And they demanded immediate payment. Included in this was a $500 fine for not signing the CC&Rs. $1,000 fine for not allowing board members access to search my property. $10,000 fine for repayment of fine. The HOA had to pay for the HOA breaking federal law. And the list goes on and on. My attorney laughed and sent a cease and desist letter, as well as a demand that all further correspondence must be direct to her office. That lasted about 6 months until my wife again noticed a new lien on the property. WTF. So back to my attorney and more laughing. Turns out the HOA put a lien on the land I purchased, which is still separate from the family land. And so we repeat the steps above. During this time, while my wife was in hospital for delivery of our second child, and everyone was there to support her, the HOA trespassed again, and started searching through my property, including its barns, garage, and outbuildings. They even tried towing several vehicles that I had on the land that were not licensed. Yeah, they are for farm use. Picture, a rusty old pickup used to haul hay and feed.
An old car with no doors we used to check out the field and search for animals.
Now they were caught in the act by the local sheriff's deputy who was just doing a drive-by.
No one was arrested, and I choose not to press charges.
However, this infuriated the HOA, and another large packet arrived with more fines on top of all the previous fines. Another trip to my attorney and more laughing, and this time she contacts the county clerk's office and manages to stop another lien that was in the process of being posted.
This time, in order to post the lien, the HOA would need to show up at a hearing and explain. Yep, they did not show and lien vanished.
Now just a reminder, this is in Florida, and my family and property are not part of any HOA.
Hope everyone enjoyed.
I am but a sad, lowly renter, not part of the owning HOA aristocracy, and have been battling this building's loosely organized HOA for the better part of a year now over parking and their decision to create a problem where one shouldn't exist.
It's a small building, 6 units total with commercial business on the first floor of 3. There are 9 official parking spaces. I used to rent 2 until last year when 1 to 4 were purchased by the new commercial tenant on ground level.
That left spots 5 to 9, which were all owned by other units' owners.
My landlord did not own a spot.
This is a small gated lot that is basically a large triangle with spots 1 to 4 facing due east and 5 to 9 in a southeast line.
Opposite spots 5 to 9 with spot 9 closest to the entry gate. On the northern perimeter fence bordering the property, I have been parking my car parallel to the fence, making sure each time I park, I am hugging that fence to a distance not exceeding 8 to 10 inches. Cars in spot 6 to 9 have to back out, as always. And now, because of my car, have to do a 3-point maneuver to get out, instead of just backing out and then pulling forward out of the gate.
I am not impeding anyone or blocking anything. The impact my car being parked there does not go beyond taking 5 to 10 additional seconds to exit through the gate, if that at all. The HOA has been assessing fines and billing my landlord, who then obviously sends that message fines to the property management company, and then to me.
These fines do not exist in the HOA fine schedule, nor are there any rules or provisions in the CC&R HOA governing documents or my lease that preclude me from parking in what is now Space 10.
When I say HOA, that translates to one neighbor who has a pattern and history of alienating neighbors to drive them out. My friend and next-door neighbor moved out about 6 months after he moved in, due to the constant all-night noise. He is an active drug addict, and the tawdry cabaret of tricks he had parading up and down the stairs at all hours day and night.
The neighbor next to him on the 3rd floor is also contemplating selling and leaving, due to the old drug addict and his infectious nature.
Back to parking. Last October, I had been going back and forth with the HOA explaining that one.
There is no signage in the lot restricting parking too. My car's parking in that space has zero material effect on anyone at any time. 3. When drug addict old man neighbor remodeled his act, his contractors and construction worker used the same spot in question every day for almost a year with no interference objection or fines imposed. 4. Nothing in the governing docs, CC&Rs, etc. outline any stipulations regarding parking. 5. I told them I was happy to pay rent for the spot to the HOA. If that would help, they said no. It was a stalemate until I was served with a 10-day eviction notice from my landlord if I did not pay the $540 that had accumulated in fines. Don't ask me how they arrived at that number, because there is no documentation anywhere that would indicate a daily fine.
Either way, since I felt I had solid ground to stand on, but not really having the time to engage in the process of further debate, I paid the $540 with the hope it would dissolve the issue for good. Nope. A few weeks ago, after drug addict got back from his winter snowbirding, I was informed that I had accrued $735 in parking fines, and if I failed to pay, eviction proceedings would commence. I don't have $735 just laying around to pay for fabricated and illegitimate parking fines. I told the HOA I wasn't paying anything until the HOA management company could produce documentation outlining what rule I was breaking, a schedule of corresponding fines, and the written documentation, showing the dates, a photo of my car, and the penalties fines associated with any such written warning.
They sent me nothing. I requested a meeting with the board, as I was told that was an option, for which the board did not reply to my request for a meeting within 2 weeks. The issue would basically no longer be up for discussion, forfeiture of the dissenting party. They did not reply to my request for a meeting.
Then last Thursday, March 14th, upon exiting my home to get in my car and go to work, all was well with the world with the exception of the conspicuous absence of my car.
Drug addict, wielding his power as an owner of 2 units of 6, called the HOA management company, and had my car towed. I guess this was his way of sending a message for all this intolerable disruption I'd been causing by parking my car in a space that has zero net impact on anything whatsoever. I don't know why this man has taken it upon himself to be such a prick, other than like what I explained before. He seems to enjoy the sport of alienation and passive-aggressive old person with a fully fried brain as a result of decades of hard drug use. It was $240 to get my car out of hock, which brings the amount paid for this completely fabricated problem to a current total of $780, and my car is currently parked in the same illegal spot as before, still impacting no one or thing with the exception of my wallet.
What do I do?
I feel like I've exhausted trying to reason with the HOA, and the drugged-up old asshole can't be negotiated with, so I am ready to hire an attorney to 1. Get my money back that was extorted via undocumented and unsupported imposition of fines 2.
Finally put this matter to rest. Unless of course someone can tell me if there is a legal barrier that I am so far unaware of, that would make me suing look even more ridiculous than the time I saw old man Narcotic leaving his apartment in assless chaps and making the world suffer.
Through the displayed ghost white folds and flaps of a 70-year-old stick-legged ass. This issue needs to go away, and I just want to park my car in my building's lot instead of fighting meters and street parking.
Long story short, I bought a house and an HOA in a gated community. Freestanding single-family residence.
The property was purchased through a foreclosure auction, knowing it had a property tax lien on it as well, and the dollar amount. I had to buy the tax lien from a speculator that bought the lien at auction.
He told me he was waiting on some arbitrary time frame in order to able to force a sale on the lien.
Regardless, the sale is final and all liens have been cleared.
The previous owner was in the HOA prior to his death.
Regardless of the situation, I own the property free of clear of any and all liens. I didn't purchase the house through normal channels.
For example, the dead guy never signed anything in the HOA documents transferring ownership.
I also never agreed to follow the CC&Rs when I purchased the house.
Because I didn't buy the house from the former owner, just the government. However, every time, like literally every single time, I head out to the property to do any work on Senate, I get hounded by one or more of 4 or so busy bodies who keep trying to get me to sign the contract. They keep telling me it's mandatory, and I keep telling them, I'm going to have my attorney look at them and I'll get back to you.
They also point out that the HOA had right of first refusal in selling the home, and I shouldn't have been able to buy it without first signing the contract. Well, I did, so screw them. Everything I can find says that the HOA is voluntary, non-mandatory, and I've never signed shit. Well, one of my questions is that while the house used to be in the HOA, I don't know if it is grandfathered in because it was in the HOA already. Or is it not in the HOA because I haven't signed yet? Or is the mere act of buying the house legally put in me, the HOA, even if I hadn't signed anything? Supposedly, the voluntary HOA is 100%, minus me, of the neighborhood, and they have a contract giving right of first refusal on any resale of the property. Good luck enforcing that on a tax mortgage auction with the dead guy. They also required anyone who bought a house to sign the contract with the HOA before the builder would sell. And one of the things in the HOA contract is that the HOA has the right of first refusal on any sales. So am I in a legal gray area in a very tightly controlled voluntary HOA? Or is there something sketchy going on with the way they have it set up?
I also have yet to receive a gate access key. I have had luck just tailgating other cars and through the gate.
I also don't have a street parking sticker. Nor do I have any way to request guest parking passes, or any of that talk that the paperwork talks about. Or do I stand to have an issue over the right of first refusal crap?
I know. Don't sign is the correct answer, but what sort of troubles am I going to be in over this bullshit?
P.S. If I can really get away with not joining, I'm going to park the biggest, most Mad Maxian truck in the front yard in the grass, and paint it neon orange, purple stripes, and build a 20-foot pirate ship in the backyard, complete with crow's nest.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.